Right. Welcome back to Case Closed Anime Review, episode number 200. Yes, the fifth ever series I've done where it reaches 200. The first series I've reached as far as obviously my comic corner, and then it was Baruto, One Piece, my Super Sentai videos, and now Case Closed has eventually joined this. And can you believe I only started viewing this thing like 4 years ago? Yep, 4 years ago. And what am I talking about for my 200 episodes of this review series? I am talking about an original episode. But it does mention the canon episode. Oh yes. We have episode 1087. The Case of Ami's Illustrated Diary 3. Yeah, it's a sequel to an episode that came out last year, and the first one came out about 3 years ago. Yeah, it's strange. I don't know why they didn't do it too. That came out in 2021, but hey. Now, basically with this one, now they do mention this episode, like I mentioned the previous case, which I'll discuss later. So the episode starts out basically a little drawing, hand drawing thing, where we have the detective boy just walking up, going to shopping tip, and then we hear a cry like, "Help, help, he's dead, he's dead." Like, what's going on here? So they go to a tanning salon. Yes, an actual tanning salon. Wait, Japan's got those? I'm sure they do. They're a little bit commonplace. They're very commonplace here, but now you might be asking, Nick, have you ever been to a tanning salon before? Nope. Never have. I had no desire to. So, now, they come across the employee who works there who's very muscular, which they do explain the guy is a bodybuilder. And then they look on the hallway, like, oh, it's very dark, and he turns the lights on. And like, oh yeah, he's in room 9, the one who's dead. His name is Nasaki. Like, okay, interesting. By the way, the guy's name is, I'm trying to think, what was his name? Because you have 4 very muscular guys in this very episode alone. You have Oda, who's basically a champion, who's playing later. His name is Yoshido. Tosona. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's dead, and of course he's pointed out that by Anita that by Hybra, she pointed out though that he is actually a bodybuilder, and yeah, they appear in a competition. Of course, they called the police, and like usual, it's Takagi and Keba. One thing I do notice though, a lot of the time when it comes to the original, for the longest time was basically Maguire and Takagi, or just Takagi. Here you have Takagi and Keba. Okay, interesting. I'm like, where's the hot Sato? I tell one of myself whenever the Isu show, like, hey guys, where's your hot girlfriends? Where are they? Oh, and by the way, Keba's girlfriend is a mature woman he knew from childhood. And here's the strange thing about this series that isn't pointed out though. Online, all the couples in this series, with the exception of Takagi and Sato, are people who know each other since they were kids. It's not mentioned in the case of Maguire and his wife, but pretty much everybody else pretty much is like that. Yeah. So, like, and then of course they contact the other guys. And you have Oda, who's basically a bodybuilder too. He's a 3-time champion. We see his rival in the episode, who is Nagato. They do mention the episode Nagashi had basically gone broke because he made a very large purchase. What that large purchase is actually a hint of the resolution of this case. Yeah. Oh yeah, and by the way, the room he was in, that was actually, normally used standard machine, he started using the high power machine just that very day. Yeah, and apparently neglected to mention that, of course, they all mentioned about for a bodybuilding competition, of course, they go to the gym. So to go to the gym, of course, the other guy stays there because he works there. And like, okay, go to Baka University. Going to be the coach, Randy Moore. And I'm like, you don't talk to anybody else? Talk about the Bodybuilding Club? Oh, by the way, Randy Moore himself. Now, here's the thing about him. His name is very much an American name. He is saying some words in English because Japanese people can do that. So apparently Nagashi, as a person, nobody has issue with him at all. Nope. But people might be jealous of his bodybuilding skills. And Randy, like, yes, that is definitely true, but he wasn't high level yet. He was basically, and Nagato, who was the bodybuilding champion. Yeah, the one who was a competitor. He basically looked up Nagashi as basically like basically an idol. He was his junior. I do like the fact that a lot of these guys are very close. Now, Oda didn't speak to him very much, even though I fellow bodybuilder, as you mentioned that. But he didn't know him very well. Nagato knew him very well. And I do appreciate that every one of these characters get good personality here. Randy Moore, who's obviously a bodybuilder. Yes, and mention fact he was. And by the way, how did he die? His tanning gel was poisoned. You're like, what? Poisoning his tanning gel. And like you can't. And I've heard murder also seen where like the tanning bed basically was locked and people got burned to a crisp thanks to the tanning bed. Yeah, they probably wouldn't do that for kids series. So poison tanning gel. Yeah, I'm sure that's probably what they wanted to do, but they probably don't want to basically be over violent. Yeah, so then it mentioned then eventually then eventually it's revealed that that Toshido has been embezzling from the salon. Why? Never revealed. It just comes completely out of nowhere, and he's basically taking out the story. And I think he's one killed. And Conan's like, yeah, that wraps up. That doesn't wrap up the story. It just seems too quick. And I was thinking he basically plans a trap for the real killer, who turns out to be the 3-time champ. Yeah, and it turns out that he really wanted to kill not Nashi. He had no motive to kill him at all, but his rival Nagato. The reason? Implanted teeth. Yes, seriously. Oh, and the whole thing with the tanning thing, they do mention, it covers all that, make them nice and shiny, which you might be curious though. Is that true? Does basically make you look very shiny? Like, very much look very nice. I think so. Possibly. It seems like a lot of this episode, it's like the person who wrote this episode clearly was a bodybuilding expert, because I'm no expert in bodybuilding because, I don't work out very much, so I do a lot of walking. I do, in fact, do a lot of physical labor in my work, but I don't work out very much. But I do, in fact, try to eat very healthy. Yes, eating healthy is a good thing. I may not work out very much, but I do try to eat nice and healthy. Like, I eat a lot of grilled chicken. Yeah. You're thinking, grilled chicken? Yeah. That's when I eat healthy. I eat grilled chicken, because grilled chicken is very healthy. And I try my damnedest to basically stay healthy the best I can, despite the fact that I might not lose much weight, but at least I'm healthy. Yep. So, yeah, and it turns out that the expensive purchase was the implants, and now, of course, he went to kill his wife because he basically wanted to become so badly. So it turns out the death was due to mistaken identity. He thought it was Nato, was actually Nagashi instead. Oh, and he tries too hard, and he just squeezes the bottle of the poison. I don't know if this is the poison. He gets angry, gets just increases his muscle, like stretching his face, like, Argh. He's like, I'm gonna hurt you, kids. And then, of course, Hybrid just pushes to take the poison out of the way, and they go just snip, go to sleep. I'm like, okay. So hey, at least he's one of his gadgets episode. Oh, in case the candy episode wondering though, they mentioned about black lights, and this actually is a reference to Spark that Fell on the Ranch. Yes, a 2-part story. Yes, they aired just last year. You're thinking, really? A story they aired 10 months ago they referenced it here? I am kind of surprised they did that. I'm like, that was kind of interesting. But I do enjoy this. I actually really enjoy this episode, surprisingly. Yeah, I actually thought this was really good. Now, I wasn't lost by anything at all. It wasn't boring. It was actually quite engaging the whole episode. Despite the fact half the time, Take the Boys episodes tend to be like usually the worst one episode of the whole series, I tend to think anyways. Usually they're pretty bad, but this one was actually pretty good. And next week seems like it's another one of those, oh, a guy fell down a set of stairs. Okay, even though we just had that just 2 episodes prior to that. Yep, so yeah. So next up we have is the chapter 1114, The Butler and That Young Lady. Yeah, I'm sure probably the title itself is a partial reference to Black Butler's title, That Butler. Okay, so the chapter starts out with basically like, we see a Tori just talking about this USB drive stuff, and then we see a flashback. Yes, a flashback from 3 years prior to events of the series, where he gets injured while taking out some guys, hides in the basement, and he runs into Okimomoji. Yes, this is basically how he meets Okimomoji, the woman who he later becomes a butler for. He's a PSP. Oh, by PSP you mean a policeman? Yeah. And basically mentions who she is. Like, oh, you're the granddaughter of the former prime minister, Okita. Interesting. Yeah, she's actually one of the only like one of the characters the whole series who her father is not some detective, it's a politician. Yeah, because it seems like all the main characters in the series who are not like adults tend to be kids of basically police people, mostly anyways. Yep. So they call up, and of course they have a good conversation. Of course they hide from some goons who are basically infiltrating the house, and he basically inadvertently becomes a protector, and apparently one of them has got a freaking katana. Yes, where they got the thing I don't know. And then he just knocks the guy out, beats him up, and basically kind of like runs away. And we cut the president like, oh, like talking about this USB drive, like about Pan, the guy who he had to kill, and of course he had to pull down his freaking pants. Unnatural hole, and he has to pull down his pants to see this mark, shorthand. Means socks, so go to socks, okay, and it's got like a mark on it, and then Hidori shows up. It's like, what's something we want to? And of course he does not notice the fact there's a dead guy right there. Oh yeah, he's basically just playing along. And then he shows Conan his phone. He says, hey, you were looking for this, right? He shows the USB drive. And then he shows something else, and he's like, look at this, right? And he turns around and says, like, so, could you answer the questions I'm about to ask? Yeah, I'll have that. Yeah, because basically Conan suspects basically the guy is being monitored. Well, at least basically he's not stupid. Mm-hmm. I gotta admit, this actor was really good. Yeah. So yeah, like the episode of the anime, just really good. I give the chapter a 9 out of 10, just really good. I enjoyed that one. Yep. So yeah, that's it particular view. Next up is the Comic Corner, and I might just call it a night at that point. Okay, next video. Bye.